Welcome back, guys. Welcome back to the VDC space. Today we're going to be doing a wastewater clarifier in Revit. We're just going to generate a family of a wastewater clarifier using different sets of families, and then we're going to nest them into a single family. And then we're going to load in a grated walkway, which I downloaded from beamobject.com. I'll leave the link in the description. So we're just going to keep it as basic as we can. We're going to model the concrete structures, and then we're going to generate also some steel work that goes on around the inside of our clarifiers. Now, before I get started, I would like to ask you guys to please subscribe to the channel if you're new. If you already subscribed, hit the notification button as I upload BIM modeling tutorials and Revit tutorials 3 times every week. I cover different topics from wastewater, roads and earthworks, bridges, and so on. Without further ado, so let's jump into our project. So the first thing is I'm gonna open up a new family template. So I'm just gonna use the metric generic model. Say open. So on the generic model, we're gonna start with our concrete structure. So I'm gonna go to the front elevation, and on the front elevation, I'm just gonna place a horizontal reference plane. So I'm just gonna use it as my height. So I'm just gonna change the offset to 3000 millimeters. So, and then from there, let me just extend these. So from there, we're just gonna start with our sludge well, which is basically an offset, sort of like a drainage part of our clarifier, which is set at an angle. So I'm gonna go to the reference level. So on the reference level, I'm gonna go to create, and for this one, actually the first thing, let me start with the base of our sludge wall. So I'm gonna go to extrusion, and I'm gonna click on circle, and on my circle, so the radius, I think I'm gonna make it 2.4. I think 2.4 is fine. So all in all is gonna be 4,800. And then I'm gonna say finish edit mode, go to the front elevation. So on my front elevation, I'm just gonna drag this down and then change the thickness of this base to 200 millimeters. Perfect. Actually, let me just change it to 400. I think 400 is perfect. And then I'm gonna go to the reference level again. And then I'm gonna go to create again and say extrusion, sweep actually. So on the sweep, I'm gonna go to sketch path and then select my circle again, and then I'm gonna place a circle with the same diameter, which is 4,800, and then I'm just gonna select this and rotate it 90 degrees. So it seems like it doesn't want to work. Let's see again. So let me just remove this. Select my circle again, and then I'm just gonna place it like this. So actually this reference line for drawing the profile is set on this side, but I actually want to rotate it so that it may be based on this side. So I'm just going to say rotate again and click. So the reason why I didn't want to rotate is because I checked the copy option of rotation. So yeah, I think it's fine. So I'm just gonna say finish edit mode, and then I'm gonna go to edit profile, and then I'm gonna go to the front elevation and say open view. So on the front elevation, I'm gonna draw my profile. So I'm gonna start on this insertion point, and at 60 degrees, I'm just gonna take it diagonally upwards at 60 degrees, and then I'm gonna make it 1100, and then I'm gonna take it to the left. So the overall thickness, I'm gonna make it I think I'm gonna make it 200 millimeters. I think 200 is perfect. So it's gonna be, our profile is gonna be set like this, and say finish. edit mode. So it's gonna follow that sweep. If you just go to the 3D view, if you go to the 3D view, this is what it generated. So basically we have our sludge well. So I'm just gonna change this. Let me just change this to fine and then this to realistic. So I'm gonna apply material to this extrusion. So obviously it's gonna be concrete. So I'm gonna scroll down and just say custom place, load it in and say okay. And then I'm just gonna join these two, and then this one is gonna change the material automatically. So this is what we have so far. Perfect. Now the next thing is we're gonna have our concrete sloping floor, which is gonna be set around our sludge well. So I'm gonna go to the reference level again. So let me just change this to hidden line. So on our reference level, I'm gonna go to sweep again. So I'm gonna go to sweep and say sketch path, and then I'm gonna select my circle option. I'm gonna set my insertion point there, and then I'm gonna take it up, and then I'm gonna expand my circle. So the radius, I think I'm gonna make it 5,000, or let me just change it. Let me just make it. I'm gonna make it 6,000 millimeters. So my radius is going to be 6,000. My diameter is going to be 12,000. So I'm going to select this and then just rotate it so that the profile line may be set on this side so that I can draw on my front elevation. The front elevation is when you're looking at your structure from this point of view. So I'm going to go to finish edit mode and then go to edit profile, elevation front, open view. Now from here, and then I'm gonna draw my concrete floor. So obviously my concrete floor starts there. So I'm gonna start on this point. So I'm gonna take it diagonally at 5 degrees. And then the total length of this, I think I'm gonna make it 4,000 millimeters. And then I'm gonna take it upwards at 200 millimeters. So the total thickness of our concrete floor is gonna be 200 millimeters. And then I'm just gonna bring it diagonally like this, and then press escape, and then I'm gonna draw a vertical line like this so that it meets this diagonal line. And then I'm gonna say trim and extend. Then I'm gonna do the same thing here, just connect it like that and say finish edit mode, go to a 3D view, and this is what we have. Perfect. Now, obviously, I'm gonna say join and then select the slash well, and then I'm gonna join it with the concrete floor, and then it's gonna change its material. So this is basically what we have. Now, the next thing is we're going to have to model the body of our wastewater clarifier, which is also made up of concrete. So how do we do that? We're going to work with sweep again. Sweeps are very much flexible in terms of modeling complex geometry. And yeah, so I'm just gonna press VR on my keyboard, and then I'm just gonna set my cut plane to 4,000 millimeters so I can see everything, because remember the height of our wastewater clarifier is 3,000 millimeters. So I'm gonna go to create again, and then I'm gonna go to sweep and say sketch path. Then from there, I'm going to select my circle option, and then I'm going to place my circle like this. So for the outer boundaries of our wastewater, I think I'm going to set my radius to 6,500. I think that's fine. And then I'm going to select it and just rotate it so that my profile is set on this side. And then I'm going to say finish and then go to edit profile, set my reference to front elevation, and then I'm going to draw on my front elevation. So I'm just going to set this to fine and then check the hidden line. So I'm going to start drawing my profile. So I'm going to take it upwards by so it's gonna be, I'm gonna take it upwards until I meet the top of this reference plane. And So I think 3000 is not sufficient enough in terms of the height. So I'm just going to take it further, actually, further than that, the reference plane. So let me take it upwards by 4000 millimeters. And then obviously the thickness, I'm going to make it 200. And then I'm going to bring it like this and say finish edit mode, go to your 3D view, and this is what we have. And now I'm going to say I'm going to join these so that it changes the material, so it became concrete. So now from there, I think the extrusion is, let me just reduce it. I'm just going to reduce the height, go to edit profile again, and let me just go to the front elevation again, and I'm just gonna reduce this and make it 3000 millimeters. Finish edit mode, go to your 3D view. This is, yeah, I think this is perfect. Okay, so now from there, I'm gonna model the effluent launder, which is basically also made up of concrete. So I'm gonna go to the front elevation, and then I'm gonna apply the same logic. I'm gonna go to create, sweep, and say sketch path, select my circle option, and then I'm going to place my circle like this, and then it's going to be set at the radius of 6300 millimeters. I'm going to select my circle, and then I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees like this, so that my profile is going to be set on this side, and say finish edit mode, and then edit profile, go to the front elevation, open view, and then I'm going to model my effluent launder. So I'm going to set this to wireframe so that I can see the thickness of my boundary wall. So I'm gonna start modeling from there. So I'm gonna take it downwards by 800 millimeters, and then take it to the left by another 800, and then I'm gonna take it upwards by 400, and then the thickness, I'm gonna make it 200 millimeters. So from there it's gonna be, from there it's gonna be 200, and then I'm gonna take it like this, and then this I'm gonna join it like this. So I think the height, we can increase this and make it 400. I think 400 is fine. And then I'm just gonna select this and then just bring it down by another 200 millimeters. So basically we are done with our profile. So I'm going to say finish edit mode, go to the 3D view and say finish edit mode. So this is what we have. This is our effluent launder. So I'm just going to join it so that I can change its material. So the material is changed, it's concrete. So this is basically what we have. Now we are basically done with the concrete part of our wastewater clarifier. The next thing is we're going to have to incorporate the steel work that goes on inside our wastewater clarifier. So the first thing is we're going to start with our steel column that's going to be set on right on the middle. So I'm just going to go to the reference level, and then I'm going to go to insert and say load family, metric library, UK contents, and then I'm going to go to structural columns. And then I'm going to go to steel and then British standards. And then I'm going to say circular hollow section, open. And then the option I'm going to go with is going to be 813. So just going to scroll down, and then I'm going to choose 813 by 10 and say OK. And then I'm going to go to create component, and then I'm just going to place my component right in the middle like this. So I'm just going to say align just to make sure it is aligned right in the middle. And if I go to the 3D view, this is what we have. So I'm just going to go to the front elevation, and then I'm going to change its height to 3000 from the reference level. So it's going to be set like this. But if I go back to the front elevation, I'm just going to measure from there to there. So it's another 1005. So I'm just going to make it 1000. I'm just going to make it 4.5, 4500. Perfect. And now this is what we have. So the next thing is I'm gonna go to the reference level again. So the next thing is we're gonna have to generate the steelwork that's gonna be surrounding this circular hollow section. So for that, I'm just gonna go to File, New, and say Family, and then I'm gonna go to Metric Generic Model again. So for this, I'm gonna go first to the front elevation, and then I'm gonna select my reference plane, set it horizontally like this, and then the total height, I'm gonna make it 4,500 millimeters. And then I'm just gonna extend this like this, lock it again, and then I'm gonna go to create. As my reference, I'm gonna use these model lines. So I'm gonna model two model lines on each side. So each on each side they're going to be offset by, so it's going to be equals to 813 divided by 2, which is 406.5, and then this one also is going to be 406.5. So the total is going to be 813. Now I'm going to say create again and say model lines. I'm going to place my horizontal model lines from the top, at the bottom, and also at the top. I'm going to select one, and then I'm going to say array, or you can type in AR on your keyboard, and then you make sure you're going to set it to linear. And then the number of them, I'm just going to say 5. Make sure your constraints are set to last, and then I'm going to select this one, and then I'm going to go down and then select the bottom one. So they are going to be placed like this. So I can just increase this to from 5 to 6, and then I think 6 works fine for us. And then I'm going to go to create again and say model lines, and then I'm going to place diagonal lines like this. So I'm going to connect them like this. So perfect. This is what we have. Now we can use this as our reference. I'm going to go to insert and say load family, and then metric, and then go to UK contents, and then for our, we're going to go to structural framing for this one, and then we're going to go to light gauge steel, and then we're going to choose light gauge angles and say open, and then we're going to choose this one, L90 by 40, and say open. Go to create, and then you're going to go to component, and then you're just going to draw your angles like this using these as your reference. So just change this level of detail to fine so that you can see your angles instead of lines, and then you're just going to connect them like this. So I'm going to select these just to work faster, so I'm going to copy them like this. Perfect. And now I'm going to draw the vertical ones, so they're going to start from there until at the top, and also from there until at the top. Perfect. Now if I open up the 3D view, this is basically what we have. Now I'm just going to select this, and then I'm going to create a group so that I can move them and then go to the reference level. So on the reference level, just when you're working with beams or steel members, make sure that your level of detail is set to fine so that you can see them more clearly instead of seeing lines. So from there, I'm just gonna move them. I'm just okay, let me just ungroup them so they are selected. I'm just gonna say move, and then I'm gonna uncheck this unconstrained. So basically we cannot move them uh, from up to down. You can only move them sideways, so I think that's fine. I'm just going to select this and say visible in view, and then I'm just going to offset this by, so it's going to be equals to 813 divided by 2, and say enter, and then I'm going to mirror them like this. So they are going to be set like this. Open up the 3D view, and this is what we have. So it seems like this wasn't this wasn't copied, so I'm gonna say 813 divided by 2, press enter, and then go to the 3D view, and this is what we have. Now if I go back to my reference level, I'm just going to select everything, and then I'm going to say rotate, and then I'm going to check this copy option. So I'm just going to select this and then rotate it 90 degrees like this, and while it's still selected, I'm going to move it, and then right from the middle I'm just going to move it like this, so it's going to be set like that. Now I'm going to go to the 3D view. So this wasn't selected also. Okay, I think that's fine. I think we'll solve that. So I'm just going to select this, go to the right, and then copy. And then I'm going to copy them like this. Perfect. Now I'm going to select this, select the two of these, go to the reference level, and then I'm going to check this line, and then they're going to be mirrored to the other side. So I'm going to select these two and then go to the right elevation on my 3D view, and then I'm going to copy them down like this. So they're going to be set like this. Perfect. Now, so this is the steelwork that's going to encompass our circular hollow section on our wastewater clarifier. So I'm just going to load it in. So I'm going to say load into project and close. I'm not going to save this. You guys can save it. So and then I'm just going to place it like that. Perfect. Now, if I go to the 3D view, this is basically what we have. So now the next thing is we're going to have to model the feed well, which is basically a steel plate that's going to be surrounding these two steel elements. And also we're going to place an energy dissipating inlet, which is basically another steel plate that's going to be encompassing these two elements. So we're just going to keep it basic. So I'm going to go to the reference level, actually go to the front elevation first, and then create and say reference plane, and then just draw a random horizontal reference plane like this, and then set the offset to 2000 millimeters from the reference level. I think actually you can make it 2.5. So yeah, from there this is what we have. Now I'm gonna go to the reference level again, and then go to create and say extrusion, and then I'm going to select my circle option. So on my circle option, and I'm just going to place my circle like this, and then I'm going to place another one like this, which is going to be set at 680. So I think the thickness is going to be 20 millimeters. So I think, yeah, 20 millimeters works fine. So I think it works fine. So I'm going to go to finish edit mode, go to the front elevation, and then I'm just going to drag this upwards until this, the bottom is going to be set on this reference plane, but the total height, I think I'm going to make it, 900 millimeters. Go to the 3D view, and this is basically what we have. And now we're going to have to model the feed well also. So let me just select this extrusion and say, go to my properties. So I'm just going to change this to aluminum. I'm going to load in aluminum and apply and say, okay. Go to the front elevation. I'm just going to increase this. Let me just make it 1500 millimeters. Let's go to the 3D view and see. So yeah, I think 1000 millimeters, but just let me just drag it from the bottom. So from the bottom, I'm gonna decrease it. Let's make it 1000 actually. So it's gonna be offset from the bottom. It's gonna be offset at 3000 millimeters from the bottom, from the reference level. So I'm gonna go to reference level again, say create, and then I'm gonna go to extrusion, select my circle, use this as my insertion point, and then I'm gonna take it further now. So this one is gonna be set at let's say 2.5, and then I'm gonna select another one. So this one is gonna be 2.5, 2520. So I think 2520 works fine. Let me just measure this. So the thickness is going to be 20, perfect. And then I'm going to say finish edit mode, go to the front elevation, and then I'm going to drag it towards the top of this energy dissipating inlet, and then I'm going to drag this towards this reference plane. So the total height of this feed wall is going to be 1500 millimeters. Go to the 3D view, and this is what we have. I'm going to select this, apply the material to this. I'm going to set it to aluminum. So perfect. This is what we have. And obviously these two cannot be hanging in the air. Obviously this one is balanced by this steel work. But obviously this one, the feed wall, cannot be hanging in the air. Obviously we have to incorporate some sort of steel work that's going to be balancing it and keeping it steady. So we're going to go to the reference level again, and then let me just change this to shaded. So this is our feed well, this is our energy dissipating inlet. So I'm going to go to insert and say load family, go to metric library, uk contents, and then you're going to go to structural framing. And then from this point we're going to go to steel, and then British standards, and then we're going to choose let's go to load family again, metric library, structural framing, and then you're going to go to steel, British standards, and then you're going to go with, so we have square hollow section, we have, yes, I think we can go with the square hollow sections. So you're going to say open. So for our square hollow section, we're going to choose this one, which is 60 by 60 by 80, and say OK. Go to create component, and then you're going to place your hollow section from, so you're going to place it from this point until this point. So if you select it, if you go to the front elevation, and then remember it's a beam, it's a framing, so just type in random numbers on your start level of offset and end level offset so that you can move it without it being constrained. So you're going to move it upwards like this. So I'm just gonna move it by 3500 millimeters, and then I'm just gonna place it like that. Perfect. Go to the front elevation, and this is what we have. And obviously we want to copy it along. So select it, go to array or AR on your keyboard, but this time you're gonna set it towards radial because you want to copy them in a circular manner. So you're gonna select radial, and then make sure your constraints are set to last. Your number, I think 3 is fine. But and then this time your center of rotation, you're gonna press place, and then you're gonna place it right on this insertion point. And then you're gonna select this, and then you're gonna move your line at the 90 degrees like this and say enter. Perfect. Now you're gonna select these three, and then you're gonna mirror them diagonally like this from this insertion point. So you're gonna mirror them at 45 degrees, and then they're gonna be copied like that. You're gonna select this, and then you're gonna mirror them like this. So, and also you can select this one, and then you're gonna mirror it towards the other side. If you now open up the 3D view, this is basically what we have. Now this thing is very much balanced. Now then the next thing is, which is like the most complicated part of our family, is gonna be the rake arms along with the stainless steel scraper blades. Now, my strategy when it comes to this one, I'm just gonna combine it as a single family, and then I'm gonna nest it into this wastewater clarifier family. So I'm just gonna go to so let me just go to the reference level, and then I'm gonna measure from this point to this point, which is 5.6. Or let me just go to the front elevation, and then I'm just gonna measure from this point. Let me just measure from this point and then to this point. So it's more or less 5,800. So I think it's fine. So I'm gonna set my rake arms and rake arms, the total length, I'm gonna set it to 5,500 roughly. So I'm gonna open up the new metric generic model family template. So you're gonna just go to the front elevation, and on the front elevation you're gonna say create and say model lines, and then you're gonna set up your model lines. So the height, you can set it to 700 millimeters, and then you're gonna take it to the right by, so you can make it 3,500, and then you're gonna take it down by 700, and then to the left by 3.5 again. And then from there you can select this line and then select array or type in AR on your keyboard, and then you can set your lines to 8. Make sure your constraints are set to last, and then you're going to select this line, and then you're going to drag it to the left. So there are going to be 8 lines. You can just press enter, and then from there you're going to generate your diagonal lines, model lines from this point to this point. And then you can just select this and say copy, just to do things faster. So you can copy them to each box. So they're going to be set like this. Perfect. Now for our rake arms, we're going to incorporate families, structural framings. So you're going to go to insert and say load family, metric library, and then go to structural framing, light gauge steel, and then go to light gauge angles and say open. And then you're going to select L75 by 90 and say okay. Then from there, you're going to go to create and say component, and then you're going to place your diagonal framing like this first. Just set this to fine so that you can see it, and then you're going to set up your vertical one like this. Perfect. Now, from this point, you're going to go to the right elevation, then set it to fine so that you can see it. And then you're going to, if you just go to the 3D view, select the first one, go to the right, and then you're gonna say rotate. Center of rotation, you're gonna press place, and then you're gonna place it right on the bottom like this, and then you're gonna place it at the you're gonna place it diagonally at 20 degrees angle, and then press enter. So you're gonna do the same thing with another structural framing. So you're gonna say rotate and say place, and then you're gonna place it right at the bottom, and then you're gonna tilt it at 20 degrees. Perfect. Open up the 3D view, and this is basically how it looks. So after that, you can just say select the two of them, go to the front elevation, and then you can just copy them to the other boxes like this. Perfect. If you open up the 3D view, and this is what you have. So you're gonna select one and say right click, select on instances visible in view, go to the right elevation, and then you're gonna copy them like this to the other side. So they're gonna be copied like this. Open up the 3D view, and this is basically what we have. And now you're gonna go to the reference level, set this to fine so that you can see them, and then you're gonna say create, and then say go to component, and then you're gonna place horizontal uh, beams like this. So you're gonna select this one, go to mirror, and then you're gonna mirror it like this. And then when you go to the 3D view, and this is how it's gonna be set up. So after that, go to the reference level again, and then go to create and say component, and then you're gonna place horizontal one that are gonna be set. So you're gonna select this, go to the front elevation, and then while it's still set up like this, you're gonna select it, and then you're gonna copy them to the other members like this. So you're gonna use those blocks as your references in order for you to copy them. Now they're going to be set like this. Now the last thing is the steel member that's going to be set on top. So you're going to go to create again and say component, and then you're just going to place it right on top like this. Go to the right elevation, and you can just punch in random numbers on the start level offset and end level offset so that you can move it without constraints. And now you can just move it. So you can just say undo. So you can just move it. You just move it randomly like this, and you can just say undo again. So you're gonna select it. Your cross section, you can set it to 180 degrees, and then you can just move it like this. So it's gonna be set like that. Go to the 3D view, and this is basically what we have. And now obviously you can set up your stainless steel scraper blades, which are going to be set at an angle, but we're not going to do that. I think this is enough for representation. So I'm just going to say load into project and close. I'm not going to save this. So the other option is you can use adaptive components in order for you to do this kind of steel work. But the adaptive components, you cannot nest them into other templates either than adaptive templates, if that makes sense. So this is basically what we have. And if I can, so I'm just going to place it like this. And then just go to the 3D view, and as you can see, this is how it's set up, but I want it to be based right there. So how do I remedy that situation? So I'm gonna select this my Rake arms, and then go back to edit family. And in order for me to place it on my sloping concrete foundation, so I'm just gonna uncheck this always vertical, and then check this work plane based, and say load into project and close. So I'm not gonna save this, and then I'm gonna say override the existing version and its parameters. So I'm gonna select this, go to my reference level, and then say pick new, and then say work plane. So I'm gonna set it right on that. So if I open up my 3D view, let me just go to, so if I say pick new and say face, just go to the 3D view, select this, and say pick new and say face. So as you can see, your face is going to be automatically highlighted when you hover over it with your element. So if I go to the reference level, select this, go to reference level, pick new face. So it's going to be set like this. So if I hover over these lines and then press tab on my keyboard, it's going to change its orientation. So I'm just going to place it like this. So it's going to be aligned. It's going to be aligned like this. If I select it, I don't think it's going to allow me to mirror, so it's not going to be mirrored. And then, so I'm going to say component again, press tab on my keyboard so that it can change its orientation. And then I'm going to place it like this. Go to my front elevation, and then it's going to be set like this. Obviously, I can adjust it manually by nudging it to the left and also to the right. But I'm just gonna nudge it manually like this, and then also this one I'm just gonna nudge it right on top and also at the bottom, so they're gonna be set like that. So I will just nudge it towards these steel elements, and also this one I'm just gonna nudge it right at this steel element. And like I said, there should be stainless steel scraper blades right at the bottom of this, which is going to be serving as a support of these two, but I want to make this tutorial as short as I can. So as you can see, basically, this is what we have. I think the last thing we have to do is incorporate our steel grated walkway. So in order for us to do that, I already downloaded the family from BIM object. So I'll leave the link in the description as I said. So I'm just gonna go to load family, and I'm just gonna go to downloads, and I'm just gonna incorporate the one that I've recently downloaded. So I'm just gonna say open. So before I do that, I'm gonna set up my reference. Go to the front elevation, go to create and say reference plane, and then place it horizontally like this. So from there, I'm just gonna offset it from the top by 145, I think. 145 millimeters, and then go to the reference level. So I incorporated it. So I'm just gonna say place on a work plane, and I'm gonna set my placement plane to. If I go back to the front elevation, let me just rename this to top. Let me just say walkway. Press enter. Go to the reference level again, create and say component, and then I'm gonna set my reference plane to walkway, and then I'm just gonna place it like this. VR, press VR, and then set my cut plane to 6,000 and my top to 6,000. Apply, okay, so that I can see everything. Then I'm just gonna press tab on my keyboard just to change its orientation, and then I'm gonna place it right in the middle like this. And as you can see, it has these drag points, so you can drag it towards the other side just to increase its strength, and then it's gonna be placed like this. Go to the front elevation, and this is basically what we have. So I'm going to select this. I don't want these steel supports, so you can actually adjust this. So you can go to your dimensions and then set this gangway height to 0, and then it's going to be set like this. So if you go to the 3D view, this is basically what we have. Perfect. So this is our basically our wastewater clarifier. I tried to keep it as basic as I could. I hope you guys have learned something. I hope you guys can apply this to your own 3D models. And yeah, you can actually download my families from my Patreon for free. If you're a free member, you can actually get them. So thank you guys for watching. I will catch you on the next tutorial. It's going to be exciting. The next tutorial is going to be exciting. I'm going to be doing generative design. So it's going to be very much an exciting episode. So I'll see you guys on the next tutorial. Peace.